Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Detroit Tigers franchise. And we're moving into the All-Star break as we start our episode with the Futures game. And we're going to look at the people who made the roster. As you see, Wyatt Pipp is there as a guy we thought about drafting last year. But we're going to go through the pitchers here and see if we have anybody. And there's nobody in the Futures game from our team, which isn't really that disappointing as our pitchers need some depth and some help. But as we move on to the position players, we see Miguel Montano is starting at second base and batting third. So that is awesome for him and awesome for us, and I think is a really good draft choice. Now we move on throughout the lineup, and we see batting ninth is going to be Bryant Packard, a left fielder of the future. And as you look down a little farther on the bench is Luis Lorenzino, a first baseman in our organization. He makes the team as well. So we have three people on this roster, and they're all position players. And I feel like that's really kind of what we need help with the most, so it's really awesome to see. So let's get into it here as Miguel Montano steps in for his first at-bat of the day with a 1-1 count and a man on second base. And the pitch, and he sends one into right field. That's going to drop in there. The runner has to hold at third, but Miguel Montano starts his day off with a single. So on to the top of the second, Bryant Packard's first at-bat of the day. 1-0 count, and he's going to send a chopper to second. That'll be fielded and thrown on to first. The runner does advance from second to third, though. So, on top of the third, Montano is back up to bat. 0-1 count, and he's going to send a ball to shallow center field. That'll be camped underneath and caught for the out. So on to the top of the fifth, Packard's back in for his second at bat, and he swings over top of strike three for his first strikeout of the day. Staying in the fifth is Montano again, and he's going to send a fly ball to right center, and that's going to get ran down in the gap for the out and end the inning. On to the top of the seventh, Packard's up again, and he swings through strike three. That's his second strikeout of the day. Now, Lorenzino gets in for his first at bat, and he is going to send a chopper back to the mound, easily fielded and thrown on to first for the first out of the eighth inning. So we ended up losing this game 4-3. And you can see our guys, Montano went 1 for 3, Packard went 0 for 4, and Lorenzino went 0 for 2. Not the best of showings for these guys, but that's not really the point. The point is to recognize the players that are going to, make a big impact on their major league club in the future. And it's awesome to see that we have 3 guys on this roster and 3 guys we can count on in the future. So we're going to jump ahead to the AA All-Star game, and we're going to check out the pitchers. And the first one we see here is Alex Lange. He's going to, starting pitcher, gets the nod here. And then we go down and see Israel De La Cruz and Carlos Rosario also make it. De La Cruz has a .87 ERA, and Carlos Rosario has a .65. They have been absolutely dominant this year for us down at the AA level. That's awesome to see for us. So, on to the position players, and batting second, playing third will be James Griggs. Down in the 5 hole is John Lester, and he gets the starting on at DH this year. And we're going to kind of scroll through and see who else is there, and that is going to be it for us. And if you are wondering why Riley Green didn't make it, it's because he has a shoulder tear, and he's going to be out for the next 1 to 2 months. So he was not able to play in this game. Otherwise, he definitely would have been there and probably would have been a starter. So let's get into it. Bottom of the first, James Griggs stands in for his first at bat, and he's going to send a liner out to the left that drops in just in front of the left fielder, and Griggs gets his day started with a single. Now, on to the bottom of the second, John Lester leads us off with a 2-2 count, and he hits a hanging breaking ball deep to left center, and that doesn't have enough carry as it bounces off the wall. But Lester will lead this inning off with the double. So on to the bottom third, Griggs is back up. He sends a chopper back to the mound. On to second, thrown on to first, and they get a double play to clear the bases and end the inning. Now, Alex Lange gets in here into the top of the fourth, faces Trey Ambergurgi. I don't know how to say that. But he rips a ball to right, and he's going to get himself a single to start this inning. Next up, Jose Gomez, a 2-2 count. He sends a ball to left center, but that will be ran down by the center fielder for out number 1. Next up, Josh Russ after a stolen base, 1-2 count, and he swings through strike 3 for out number 2. That'll bring up Fred Hunter now, a 1-2 count. He sends a line drive to right field, and that dive was on me. I did not mean to hit the button for him to dive. That'll roll all the way to the wall. The run will score from second, and he's going to get himself an RBI triple to add another run. Next up, Wyatt Gall, and he's going to send an easy fly ball to right field to end this inning. Bottom of the 6th now is James Griggs stands in again, and he is going to look at ball 4 to put 2 men on. Still in the bottom of 6th as Lester comes up to bat with a couple runs scored. He sends a ball to center field, but that is just about medium depth and easily camped under for out number 2. So all the way to the top of the 8th now as Carlos Rosario comes on to pitch facing Jose Gomez, and he's going to get him to ground out to second as that's fielded and thrown on to first for out number 1. Next up will be Josh Russ, 1-2 count, and he is also going to hit a grounder to second, which is fielded and thrown on to first for out number 2. Next up, Fred Hunter, 1-0 count, and he pretty well hit to left field, but that doesn't have enough as that is ran down for out number 3 to end the inning. So that ends the game as we lose 6-4. Griggs went 1 for 2 with a run scored. Lester went 1 for 3. And Lange and Rosario each pitched an inning. Lange had 2 hits, 1 earned run, and 1 strikeout. Rosario didn't have anything, no hits, no earned runs, and no strikeouts. So after the game, we get approached by the Yankees for a trade for Willie Castro. So let's look at Nick Madrigal as the first piece. And he's a pretty good hitter, not a lot of power, some good vision. Really good fielder and decent speed, but he doesn't have any secondary position. So right now it kind of feels like a 1-for-1 with Castro, and I think Castro is a little better. So let's look at the second piece of this. In Gustavo Alonso, and he's a C potential center fielder. He's got decent power, pretty good speed, and decent fielder as well. His hitting though is way down there, and I just don't like this trade. I think Willie Castro is a better player than Nick is, and he can play more positions. So right now I am going to deny this trade. We'll see what else we get for Castro, because he's generating a lot of buzz lately. So that brings us to the MLB All-Star Game. I wish the AAA was first, but this is what it is. So let's get in and see who we got, if anybody. So we start with the pitchers, and as we go through, we notice Michael Aoki is going to make it as the closing pitcher, and that's really nice to see for us. And we're going to go through, and that's all we have for pitchers. Kenta Medea, however you say that, gets the starting nod. So we're going to go through the position players here, and so far we've got nobody on the starters, which makes a lot of sense. But we're going to keep going through, and we actually come across is Jeimer Candelario makes it as a reserve for third baseman. So that's nice. At least we have a couple of people in this game. So then we come across is Barry Gasaldo. He was the first round pick for the Mariners in last year's draft, and he's batting over .330 in this season. He is definitely in the running for Rookie of the Year. And he's going to be the front runner. So we have to go all the way to the top of the 9th before any of our players gets in. Is Candelario facing Kirby Yates with a full count and the pitch, and he swings over strike 3 for out number 2. And that'll be it. Aoki never got into the game as Mookie Betts wins player of the game, going 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. So we're going to move into the AAA All-Star Game, but as we do, we get some really bad news. James Griggs dislocates his ankle, and he's going to be out for over 6 months. What a way for your season to go. You make the AA All-Star Game, and then a few days later, you dislocate your ankle, and you're done for the year. That is just awful for him. I feel so bad for him. But let's move into this game here. And the first person we see for the AAA is Alex Faedo, a starting pitcher. And then we see Merle Sanchez, the closing pitcher. So 3 of our draft picks from last year make some game, either All-Star game or the Futures game, which is nice for us to see. We had a pretty good draft. Now let's go on to the position players, and we're going through. And we actually see a familiar face in Winston Arabu, who we signed last year and we didn't bring back. But we're going to keep going through, and we don't see anybody else. So it looks like for AAA, we're going to have a couple pitchers, and that's really going to be about it. So let's jump in and see if any of them get in. So jump ahead to the top of the 6th as Alex Faedo comes into pitch, and he'll be facing off against Ben Ruda, who has an 0-2 count, and he sends a fly ball to left field, and that'll be caught for a quick out number 1. Next up, Cesar Mora with the 0-1 count, and he's going to send a ball to center field. Our center fielder gets a little bit of turned around there, but he's going to make the correction, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. Next up, Carlos Vasquez with a 1-2 count, and he's going to pop it out in the infield to the third baseman, and that'll be out number 3. And Faedo has himself a quick 1-2-3 inning. So we end up winning 2-0. Alejandro Zepeda gets the player of the game. 1 inning pitched, 1 strikeout. He doesn't seem like he did a whole lot, but there wasn't a whole lot of offense. So after that game, we get a trade offer from the White Sox for Aaron Bummer and D. Strange Gordon, and they're asking for Willie Castro. And Bummer and Gordon are both up there in age, so this is an easy no for me. Willie Castro is, I need more for him. So that's going to do it in this episode. I know it's a little bit of a shorter episode, but I feel like the All-Star games warrant that. I think it's a cool thing to show, and so I'm going to keep doing that every year. Maybe sometime we'll have a home run derby participant so we can show that as well. But right now, that is what it is. But in the next episode, we are going to be covering the trade deadline. I'm hoping for some more fireworks than we had in last year, as guys like Scope, Grossman, and Cruz are all on the block. And even Willie Castro, as you can see, we already had a couple offers for him in this episode. There's a couple of them in earlier episodes that didn't show, but he's generating a lot of buzz right now. And if a team comes forward with the right offer that I just can't say no to, they blow our doors off with an offer, I'm going to pull the trigger. I really like Castro. He's an awesome hitter, a decent fielder. He can definitely work on that, but if I can add more pieces, more depth in our organization, I'm going to take every opportunity to do so. So we'll have to see what happens. And like I said, we're hoping for some fireworks. But that, like I said, that's going to do it here. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, and we will see you next time here on Cardboard Cutouts.